Leave her there. She'll stop asking if she learns it's pointless. My mother said it like she was talking about a tantrum, not my 9-year-old daughter standing on a warped piece of plywood over an uncovered excavation pit. There was no safety fence, no caution tape. Just a rectangle of wet earth and rebar and a drop deep enough to break something important. My niece shrieked with laughter. My dad filmed it. My sister clapped like this was summer camp. Maisie's feet were bare. Her toes curled at the edge of the board. One slip and she'd go down. I grabbed the back of her shirt and yanked her toward me so hard her towel fell. "Inside," I said. "Now." Maisie's eyes went wide, not with defiance, confusion. "Grandpa said I could sit there." He said it's fine. My sister, Tessa, rolled her eyes. "Relax. The contractor left early. It's not like she's gonna jump." My mother's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Don't make a scene. People can hear you. I wasn't here to fight about their pool. I was here for my daughter's violin, the antique Italian one my great-aunt June gave her. The one Maisie practiced on every week in my parents' climate-controlled music room because my apartment was too small and our neighbors were already tired of living next to a kid with talent." Maisie kept her voice small, like she was trying to be good enough to deserve her own stuff. "Is my violin upstairs?" I looked toward the house. Curtains drawn. Front door propped open. The smell of fresh paint hit me the moment we stepped inside, sharp and chemical, like money spent in a hurry. My dad followed us in, still wearing that easy grin. He rubbed his hands together like the host of a home makeover show. "You like it? It's going to be great for the kids." "I'm getting Maisie's violin," I said. He didn't move. "We already handled that," he said. Something cold slid down my spine. "Handled what?" He nodded toward the backyard like it was an answer. "You can see where the money went. Isn't it nice for the children?" Maisie's hand found mine. Her fingers were damp. "What money?" My mother appeared behind me, voice sugary and tight. "Don't tell her anything. Not here." That did it. Adults who had nothing to hide didn't talk like that. I pushed past them and walked straight down the hall. The music room door was open. The room looked wrong. Not messy, emptied. The rug rolled up, the humidifier gone, the temperature monitor off. The cabinet where June kept sheet music was bare, like someone had scraped the room clean. And the corner where Maisie's hard case always sat where it belonged was empty in a way that made my stomach flip. Maisie stopped in the doorway. She didn't run. She didn't ask twice. She just stared like her brain couldn't make the room match her memory. "Where is it?" she asked. My mother stepped in beside her, already reaching for her shoulder like she could physically steer this into the story she wanted. "Honey, don't get upset." Maisie looked up at her, blinking fast. "Did Aunt June take it back?" "No," I said before my mother could twist it. "Aunt June didn't take anything." My father leaned in the doorway, arms crossed. "You're overreacting." I turned on him. "Where is my daughter's violin?" He shrugged. "We sold it." The air went thin. Maisie's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Sold it? Like on purpose?" My mother smiled, that practiced smile she used on neighbors when she wanted to look like a good woman. "Sweetheart, you can use a school violin. Lots of kids do. This one was just sitting here." Maisie stared at me like she was waiting for me to explain how adults could do that without permission. Like maybe there were rules, and I just hadn't told her yet. "You sold it without asking me," I said, voice steady in a way that scared me. My dad's jaw tightened. "It was in our house. It was in June's music room," I snapped. "And it was gifted to Maisie." Tessa's voice floated in from the hall, bright with irritation. "Oh my God, it's just an instrument. My kids deserve something too." My mother pounced on that. "Exactly. The pool is for the children. We're making memories. You should be happy." "The children," I repeated. "You mean Tessa's kids?" My father sighed like I was exhausting him on purpose. "Maisie will be fine with a student violin. She's 9. She'll adapt." Maisie's shoulders curled inward. That word adapt hit her like a quiet punishment, like she'd already learned what it meant in our family. Swallow it. Don't complain. Make it easier for everyone else. Then she asked the question that broke something open in me. Mom, she whispered, did I do something wrong? I dropped to my knees in front of her. No, I said, holding her hands. You did nothing wrong. Not one thing. My mother's voice sharpened. Don't put ideas in her head. You'll upset her. And, good, I said, standing. She should be upset. My father's eyes went cold. Don't you dare call June. My mother nodded quickly. She doesn't need stress. She's finally settled in her senior living community. Let her have peace. Peace. Their word for silence, for keeping me useful. I stared at them and realized they weren't asking. They were ordering. If you didn't do anything wrong, I said quietly, you wouldn't be afraid of the truth. Tessa scoffed. You always have to ruin everything. I turned back to my daughter. We're leaving. In the car, Maisie held her towel like it was the only thing she was allowed to have. She stared out the window for a long time, then asked, barely louder than a breath, do we get it back? We're going to talk to Aunt June tomorrow, I said. Maisie's eyes widened. Grandma said you're not allowed. I laughed once, sharp and humorless. Then Grandma shouldn't have sold a child's violin. Maisie swallowed and looked down at her lap. Mom, if they can take my violin, she whispered, can they take me too? That night her teacher loaned us a rental from the school closet. The varnish was chipped. The bow hair was uneven. Maisie held it like it might apologize. She tried anyway. She adjusted her shoulder rest, took a breath, and pulled the first note. It came out thin and scratchy. She flinched like it was her fault. I can make it work, she said quickly. It's okay. I can practice quieter. I stood in the doorway, watching my kid shrink, and I hated how familiar it felt. When Maisie finally set the rental down, she didn't cry. She just asked, are you mad at me? No, I said. I'm mad at adults who pretend stealing is love. Her voice shook anyway. They said it was for family. So does that mean I'm not family? I sat beside her on the carpet. You are, I said. And tomorrow June is going to hear the truth from me. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. All caps. Like a threat wearing punctuation. Don't you dare go to June. If you do this, we'll do what we have to do to protect our granddaughter. I didn't sleep. All night I replayed my mother's voice. Leave her there like she'd said it about an object. I replayed my father's shrug. We sold it like my daughter's future was a spare lamp. And I replayed that text. We'll do what we have to do to protect our granddaughter. My mother's favorite trick was to wrap a threat in the word protect. Like she was the hero even when she was the one swinging the knife. At 7 a.m., I was in the car with a folder of screenshots and a kid who held her cheap rental case like armor. Maisie kept her eyes on the dashboard. Is Aunt June mad at me? No, I said. She gave it to you because she wanted you to have it. Maisie swallowed. Grandma says Aunt June forgets things now. I almost laughed. My mother loved calling strong women confused the moment they became inconvenient. June didn't forget. June noticed. The senior living community was bright and quiet lemon cleaner, soft carpets, the kind of calm that feels expensive. The receptionist smiled. Who are you visiting? June Hart. Her smile warmed. She's in the library lounge. She asked us to let you in as soon as you arrived. Of course she did. June sat by a window with a book open on her lap, glasses low, like she was judging the author personally. She looked up, and her gaze went straight to Maisie. Come here, she said, and it wasn't a request. Maisie stepped forward. June took her hand firm, warm, then looked at me. Sit, she said, and don't soften it. My throat tightened. I sat. They sold it, I said. June didn't blink. Tell me exactly. So I did. The empty room, the pool excavation, my father's words, my mother's order not to tell her, Tessa's, just an instrument, the threat about protecting Maisie. June listened without interrupting, not shocked, not theatrical, focused, like someone collecting evidence. When I finished, June closed her book slowly. And Maisie? She asked. eyes on my daughter. What did they say to you? Maisie's voice was small. They said I could use a school one, and that I shouldn't be upset because the pool is for the kids. June's jaw tightened, not rage, clarity. Sweetheart, she said, you are a kid. Maisie blinked hard. June turned to me. Do you have proof the pool started right after I moved out? I handed her my phone. Tessa's posts, dates, the contractor's sign in the yard, a caption about finally making it happen. June nodded once. Good. Then she said, your mother called me yesterday. My stomach dropped. What did she say? June's voice went flat. That you're emotional. That Maisie is too attached. That your father made a hard decision for the good of the children. Maisie's shoulders curled in. I'm sorry, she whispered. June squeezed her hand. Don't apologize for being robbed, she said, then looked at me. And don't apologize for telling the truth, I swallowed. Mom threatened me. She hinted about courts. June's eyes sharpened. I expected that. You did? June nodded. Natalie, your mother will try to turn this into a custody story because she thinks fear is leverage. She'll say she's worried. She'll say she's protecting Maisie from instability. It's how she keeps control without admitting she wants control. My skin went cold. What do we do? I asked. June leaned forward. Send me everything, she said. Texts, voicemails, posts, dates, and don't warn them. Why? June's mouth curved into the smallest smile. Because I need them comfortable, she said. They make worse choices when they feel safe. Then she added, casually, like she was commenting on the weather, they sold something they had no legal right to sell. I stared. What do you mean? June's eyes locked on mine. That violin is in a trust, she said. I'm the trustee. Maisie is the beneficiary. My heart kicked hard. So, they broke the law. June didn't flinch. Yes. Maisie looked up at me, eyes wide. Does that mean I get it back? June didn't promise. She didn't soothe. She just said, it means we stop them from taking anything else. Then she stood, pulled out her phone, and dialed a number from memory. Who are you calling? I whispered. The person who handles consequences, June said. Because your parents don't respond to feelings. The call connected. Andrew, she said. It's June. We need to move. Maisie squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. Mom, she whispered. Are we in trouble? I swallowed and forced my voice steady. No, baby. We're getting help. June ended the call and looked at me. Go home, she said. Keep Maisie close. Your mother likes surprise visits. On the drive back, my phone rang at a red light. Mom. I didn't answer. It rang again. And again. Then a voicemail came through, and the transcript flashed on my screen. Natalie, you're making reckless choices. If you drag June into this, we'll have to consider what's best for Maisie. Grandparents have rights. Call me back before you ruin your daughter's stability. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. Maisie noticed. Is Grandma mad? She's scared, I said, and it was the most honest thing I'd said in weeks. Back at my apartment, I opened the family group chat. My father had posted a photo of the pool excavation with the caption, Family Weekend, no drama. Under it, Tessa wrote, Don't bring negativity. We're doing this for the kids. I looked at my daughter, holding her rental case in the hallway like it was the best she deserved. I started compiling everything, screenshots, timestamps, my mother's threats, even the contractor's number. Because if my parents wanted to make this about stability, I was done being stable for their lies. If you're with me, hit like and subscribe, because the next part is where everything flips, and the people who keep saying for the kids get forced to explain what they really meant. The next 6 weeks felt like a slow leak. Nothing exploded. Nobody apologized. My parents didn't suddenly wake up and feel remorse. They just acted like the line had always been where they put it. Maisie practiced anyway. Her teacher found a slightly better rental and called it temporary, but the sound still didn't bloom the way Maisie's old violin did. Every time she missed a note, She blinked hard and adjusted her posture like perfection could earn her safety. That's what scared me the most. She wasn't angry. She was adapting. She started asking permission for things she never needed permission for. Is this okay if I sit here? Is it okay if I ask for help? Like she was shrinking her needs until they were invisible. One night, she slipped into my room and stood by the doorway in that careful posture my family trains into girls. "Mom?" she said. "Yeah, baby." She hesitated. "If I stop talking about the violin, will Grandma like me again?" My chest went tight. "Grandma's feelings are not your job," I said. Maisie nodded like she understood, but her eyes said she didn't believe it. Meanwhile, my sister posted videos of pool progress, like she'd invented cement. She filmed the deck being poured, the tiles being laid, the water delivery, captions about blessings and family and making memories. Then the invitation hit the group chat. Pool reveal BBQ. Saturday 2 p.m. Bring a side. No, how's Maisie? No, we miss you. Just logistics, because in my family, feelings are optional, but potato salad is mandatory. Maisie saw it over my shoulder. Her face stayed blank. "Are we going?" she asked. I opened my mouth and didn't answer fast enough. She looked away, and that tiny movement like she expected to be left out made my stomach churn. The next morning, June called. "We're going," she said. I gripped the phone. "June, what are you doing?" Her voice was calm. "Doing what I should have done sooner." "Is the violin?" I started. "It's been located," she said, careful with her words. "And it's secured." My pulse spiked. "Secured how?" June's tone stayed steady. "Legally," she said, "which is the only kind that matters with your parents." I swallowed. "Should I warn them?" "No," June said, immediate. "Let them be comfortable. They make worse decisions when they feel safe." Saturday arrived hot and sticky, perfect pool weather. Maisie put her swimsuit under her dress because Hope is stubborn at 9. She didn't talk much on the drive. When we pulled up, cars lined the street. Neighbors, cousins, uncles, people who loved my parents' performances. The backyard looked like a brochure. Bright blue water, a new patio, string lights under a pergola. The kind of setup meant to scream, "Look how good we are!" My niece and nephew ran wild, splashing adults who laughed and called it spirited. Tessa held a drink and laughed loud enough to be heard from the driveway. My mother stood near the grill with her matriarch posture. My father hovered beside her, smiling like a man whose choices had been validated by chlorine. Maisie stood close to me with her towel folded neatly, eyes scanning the deck chairs, the outdoor speakers, the water that shimmered like a prize. She swallowed hard because she could do math. She could see what her violin became. My mother spotted us and her smile flickered just a crack, then snapped back into place. "Natalie!" she called. "You made it!" "Hi, Mom," I said. Tessa leaned in and looked Maisie up and down. "Hey," she said like it was a favor. Maisie nodded politely. Too politely. The kind of polite that means she's trying not to take up space. My father clapped his hands. "All right, everybody, food's almost ready." My mother lifted her voice. "Before we eat, we just want to say how grateful we are. This has been a dream for the children." Applause. Tessa raised her cup. "To family," she said. More applause. My father cornered me near the cooler, smile fixed for the audience. "Don't start anything today," he murmured. "This is for the kids." "You mean Tessa's kids?" I said. His smile tightened. "I mean all of them." Then he added too quickly. "And we didn't sell anything. We donated it. A patron. For music. It's better this way." Donated. That was new. And it was the kind of lie people tell when they're trying to stay ahead of the truth. Someone near the fence asked loudly, "Where's June? I thought she used to live here." My mother's smile tightened. "She's busy," she said too fast. "She doesn't like crowds." The gate latch clicked. I turned. June walked in like the heat couldn't touch her crisp blouse. Steady posture, clear eyes. Beside her was a tall man in a suit holding a folder, and behind them was a woman rolling a small case. The backyard changed in one breath. Conversations stalled. Someone coughed. Someone pretended to look at the grill. My mother went pale. My father's smile froze. Tessa's mouth opened, then closed like a fish. June's gaze swept over the pool like she was inspecting a stain. Then she looked straight at my parents. "Well," she said pleasantly, "you've been busy." My mother forced a laugh. "June, this is a party." "I know," June said. "That's why I came." Then June looked at Maisie. Maisie straightened like her spine recognized safety. June's eyes softened for half a second. Then she faced my parents and said, loud enough for every neighbor to hear, "I heard you sold a child's violin." And my mother's hand, still holding her drink, started to shake. My mother tried to laugh it off like June had made a tacky joke. "Oh, June," she said, too bright. "We didn't want to bother you with—" June lifted a hand. My mother stopped mid-sentence like she'd hit an invisible wall. "You didn't want consequences," June said calmly. My father cleared his throat. "Let's talk inside, privately." June smiled, and it wasn't warm. "Thomas, you've had plenty of private time," Tessa snapped. "This is humiliating." "Yes," June said, still calm. "It should be." The man in the suit stepped forward. "Andrew Feldman," he said. "June's attorney." The word attorney changed the air. People stopped pretending they weren't listening. My mother's voice tightened. "June, you're overreacting. We're celebrating the children." "For the children," June repeated, like she was tasting the phrase. Then she turned and looked directly at Maisie. Maisie stood beside me, too still, cheeks flushed from heat and embarrassment. She looked like she was bracing for someone to blame her for ruining a party. June's voice softened. "Sweetheart, you've been very brave." Maisie's lip trembled. "I didn't mean to." "I know," June said. "You didn't cause any of this." Then June faced my parents again. "You sold her violin," she said. "An antique Italian instrument gifted to a child for $64,500. My mother's smile cracked. "It was sitting in our house," she snapped. "And Maisie is 9. She doesn't need something like that." "Need," June echoed, and her tone made my skin prickle. "You don't get to decide what a child needs after you take it from her." My father lifted his hands like he was the victim. "We didn't know there was special paperwork. We thought it was family property." June's mouth curved into a small smile. "Convenient," she said, "because it wasn't." Andrew opened the folder and held up a document. "The instrument was placed in a trust," he said. "June is the trustee. Maisie is the beneficiary." The word trust rippled through the backyard. A neighbor behind the fence whispered, "Oh my God." My mother blinked hard. "That's not—" "It is," Andrew said evenly. "It's filed. It's valid, which means you had no authority to sell it." Tessa's face flushed. "We did it for the kids." June's eyes snapped to her. "Maisie is a kid." Tessa opened her mouth, closed it. Her eyes flicked to her children in the pool like she wanted them to protect her. They didn't. My father's voice went thin. "Where is it?" June didn't answer immediately. She let the question hang just long enough for the crowd to feel it. Then she said, "Secured." Maisie's head jerked up. "Really?" June nodded once. "Located and secured," she repeated. "Legally." My mother's cup trembled in her hand. "What does that mean?" she whispered. Andrew's voice stayed polite. "It means the buyer was contacted," he said. "The instrument is in June's custody again, pending transfer back to the trust." My father's face drained. "You called the police?" June's tone didn't change. "I called the law," she said. "There's a difference." My mother tried her favorite move, the moral high ground. "June, how could you do this to us? We're family." June tilted her head. "Family doesn't steal from a child," she said. "Family doesn't tell her to be grateful afterward." Then June gestured toward the pool, lazy and brutal. "You took the money and poured it into this," she said. "So let's be clear. You didn't just betray Natalie. You converted theft into concrete." My father stiffened. "We improved the property." June's eyes narrowed. "You improved your comfort with money that wasn't yours." she said. In a house that isn't yours either. My mother's face went blank. What are you talking about? Andrew pulled out another set of documents. This property is also held in trust, he said. June is the trustee. My father barked a laugh that sounded like panic. No, that's not true. It is, Andrew said. Which means your occupancy is permitted only at June's discretion. My mother's voice shook. This is my home. June's gaze didn't move. It is the house you live in, she said. Those are not the same sentence. Andrew extended the papers like a waiter delivering a bill. Notice to vacate, he said. 60 days. My mother stared at the pages like they were poison. My father didn't take them. Tessa snatched hers like ripping paper could change reality. You're kicking out children, Tessa hissed. June didn't flinch. No, she said. I'm removing adults who use children as shields. My mother tried again, voice trembling with theatrical heartbreak. June, think about the kids. June's eyes flicked to Maisie. Her voice sharpened into something final. I am, she said. Then my mother did the most dangerous thing she could have done in that moment. She reached for Maisie. Come here, sweetheart, she said, voice suddenly tender. Don't listen to grown-up talk. You can stay with us tonight. We'll make pancakes. We'll calm everything down. Maisie froze, not because she wanted pancakes, because my mother was offering comfort like a leash, like she could separate my child from me with sugar and guilt. I stepped between them. Don't touch her, I said. My mother's eyes flashed. Natalie, don't be ridiculous. I'm her grandmother, and you just proved why she isn't safe with you, I said. The backyard was silent, the kind of silent that feels like a door closing. June looked at my parents one last time. You have 60 days, she said. Or Andrew takes the next step. My father's jaw clenched. You can't do this in front of everyone. June smiled, small and cold. Watch me, she said. And just like that, the party wasn't a party anymore. It was consequences wearing sunscreen. The next day, June came to my apartment with a hard case and a quiet look that told me she hadn't been asleep, she'd been working. Maisie hovered behind my legs like she didn't trust good news anymore. June set the case on my coffee table but didn't open it right away. She looked at my daughter first. Sweetheart, she said, before you see it, I need you to understand something. Maisie's fingers twisted together. Okay. June's voice softened. You didn't lose it, she said. Adults took it. Adults lied. Adults used you as a prop. None of that is your fault. Maisie nodded, and a tear slid down her cheek. She wiped it fast like it was embarrassing. June clicked open the latches. Even from across the table, I saw it, the depth of the varnish, the warm glow of old wood, the familiar scuff at the chin rest where Maisie always settled in. Maisie made a sound, half breath, half sob, and reached out with both hands like she was touching something alive. She didn't say much. She just lifted it carefully and hugged it to her chest. June watched her, and for the first time since all this started, I saw June's control slip for a second. Her eyes closed. One quiet breath. Then she opened them and turned back into steel. What happens now? I asked. June didn't sugarcoat it. Now your parents panic, she said. They'll blame each other. They'll pretend they didn't understand. They'll call you cruel for not staying quiet. She was right. Within hours, the calls started. My dad wanted to fix it quietly. My mom said I was upsetting June and confusing Maisie. Then she tried again with the soft threat. Grandparents have rights. My spine went straight. Try it, I said, and ended the call. Andrew handled the buyer, and the buyer wanted his money back immediately. My parents didn't have it. Because they'd poured it into a pool, they didn't even have permits fully cleared. For turns out, cutting corners catches up when the money isn't yours. So the pool became a billboard of their choices. Repayment demands, legal paperwork, frantic emails, my mother's voice going from righteous to desperate in record time. Tessa tried rage first, like volume could rewrite documents. Then she pivoted. One week she screamed for the kids. The next week she texted, I didn't know it was a trust. My father tried guilt. My mother tried tears. They tried love-bombing Maisie with gifts they couldn't afford. They tried showing up at my apartment unannounced like they still had access. They didn't. I installed a camera. I kept every message. I stopped answering calls that were just traps wearing family names. The 60 days didn't pause for their feelings. On move-out day, a truck sat in my parents' driveway, and the neighborhood watched the perfect family pack up like reality had finally found them. My mother kept looking around like someone would intervene, like a neighbor would say, "Oh no, surely this is too harsh." Nobody did. They moved into a smaller rental across town. No pool, no pergola, no applause. A week later, June handed me a key and a folder. "Read it tonight," she said. Inside was the second secret bigger than the violin. June had updated the trust. The house was protected. And when the time came, I wouldn't be begging my parents for anything ever again. "You're the beneficiary," June told me bluntly. "Because you show up, because you protect the child, and because I'm done watching you get used." I cried then quietly, because someone finally said out loud what I'd been trying to earn my whole life. "You matter." Maisie and I moved in the next week. The house sounded different without my parents' heavy footsteps and my mother's tight smiles. It sounded like air. June moved back in after that, not as someone being managed, not as a burden, but as the person who belonged there. The music room got rebuilt the right way, safe, locked, steady, for Maisie. And something shifted in my daughter, slowly but unmistakably. The first time my mother visited after the move, invited, supervised, boundaries clear, Maisie didn't hide behind me. She looked at my mother and said, "I don't like when you talk about me like I'm not here." My mother's mouth tightened. She glanced at me, waiting for me to correct my child. I didn't. Maisie kept going, voice small but steady. "And I'm not staying overnight. I decide that with my mom." 9 years old. Setting a boundary. June's hand brushed Maisie's shoulder like a quiet metal. 3 months after the pool party, Maisie auditioned for the regional youth orchestra. She walked onto that stage with her violin held like a truth no one could take from her again. She played, and the sound filled the room the way it always had. Warm, confident, alive. When they posted the list, her name was there. Maisie didn't scream. She didn't jump up and down. She just turned to me, eyes bright, and said, "I did it." "You did," I told her. "And you didn't have to shrink to earn it." Here's what I want to ask you, because families love calling truth cruelty when it costs them something. If you were June, would you have exposed it publicly and kicked them out? Or would you have handled it quietly to keep the peace? Drop your answer in the comments. Share this story with someone who needs it. And subscribe for more family drama where the kid gets protected. Because the moment you protect a child at the right time, you don't just save a violin, you change her future.